Did you expect Sabo to spark up the biggest bad of One Piece, or Cobra to reveal the full name of Lili Nefertari in this most recent chapter of One Piece, or for Imu-sama to have actually gotten involved in a battle in this recent chapter? Trust me, chapter 1085 has taken us all by surprise, and I cannot wait to dive right into it. Now be sure to stick around until the end of this video, because I'm going to be exploring what King Cobra's dying words will mean for the Kingdom of Alabasta, the fate of Vivi, and how it all links to the will of D and the D clan. Oda has actually hinted at some of the biggest mysteries in this chapter, so without further delay, this is my complete breakdown and analysis of One Piece chapter 1085. So continuing on with the flashback from a month ago, where we learned some more shocking details about what had transpired during this year's groundbreaking reverie. Cobra looks up in disbelief because there is no way that someone should be allowed to sit on that throne. He rightfully believes that the world shouldn't move to the will of a single individual, but Im refers to himself in the third person as Mu, as he cuts to the chase and states that there are two things that he wants to discuss with Cobra, and that there is one thing that he wants to ask him. Cobra yells out for Im to identify who he is, but we then get a massive hint regarding Im's identity when Cobra reveals that he recognizes the name Im, and it appears as though that Cobra is certain that this isn't a mere coincidence. The King of Alabasta is then interrupted before he can finish his sentence, as he was in the middle of explaining the origins of Imu-sama, which appear to be linked to the first 20 kings. But Im tells him not to pry any further because what he is seeking to learn is unanswerable. He states that what Cobra wants to know will soon be revealed, as he explains that those who bear the D in their name were once their enemies a long time ago. The individuals bearing the D in their name in recent years are described as being nothing more than cheap imitations to those who had came before them. This is because individuals like Luffy, Ace, or even Blackbeard don't understand the meaning of their own names. However, Im reveals that the D clan persists to this day thanks to a great blunder on Queen Lili's part 800 years ago. She has been responsible for the scholars who have been desperately trying to study the Void Century, like the scholars of Ohara. She is even responsible for the pirates who are seeking out the Poneglyph in order to reach the final treasure of One Piece. If it wasn't for the mistake of Lili that day, then the Poneglyph wouldn't have been scattered across the world. Interestingly, Im is frustrated by the existence of the Poneglyph, referring to their release as the singular worst case scenario from the past. We even see him asking himself if it really was a mistake, or was their release planned out by Lili. The Gorosei then draw their weapons and point them towards Cobra, as Im elaborates that the answer to the Poneglyphs lies in the letter that Lili had sent back to Alabasta. Im notes that Cobra had earlier mentioned Queen Lili of the Nefertari family, but he asks why did he not say her full name as it was written within that letter. We then see Cobra thinking to himself that there is no way that he's going to be able to leave this room alive now. He even asks them if he has permission to leave, but he is told that his fate was sealed the moment that he had seen Im. Now around the corner we see Sabo eavesdropping on the entire conversation, as he thinks that it is way too strange. He overhears Cobra reveal that the Queen of Alabasta from 800 years ago was actually called Nefertari D. Lili. Suddenly Im fires an arrow towards Cobra, which impales him, but Sabo appears out of nowhere and he unleashes his Fire Fist ability to protect the King of Alabasta. He then fires a wave of flames towards Im, who along with the Gorosei end up transforming into these giant silhouetted entities, and we see Im defend himself by biting and swallowing Sabo's flames. Now that he is transformed into this shadowy dark creature, we see him crawl down from his throne and join the Gorosei as they surround both Sabo and the injured Cobra. One of the silhouettes we see resembles a bird, with some people speculating that it looks similar to Big News Morgan's. Another of the shadowy silhouettes resembles an elephant, with one of them looking like a demon or an oni, especially with its oversized horns. One looks like it has clouds floating around their neck, similar to Luffy in his Gear 5 form. Now of course this is just an observation based upon the silhouette that we see, so if we get a proper unobscured look at the character, these may in fact not be clouds. Now the last silhouette that we see represents Imu, and it's difficult to make out. We can see its fingers as it crawls down from the throne, and one thing is for certain, this shadowy silhouette of Imu-sama is much larger than the silhouettes that have been created by the Gorosei after their transformation. Now after being cornered, Sabo says that he was trying to get everyone with his last attack, and he says that he didn't expect the top of the world to look so hellish. Cobra recognizes Sabo as Luffy's older brother, and that he is a part of the revolutionary army. He then asks why is it that he is helping him, as Sabo reveals that the kings are not their enemies, but it's the individuals who are above them who are their targets. He goes on to ask about how Cobra knows Luffy, to which he says that he is indebted to him, making Sabo say that pretty much sounds like Luffy. Now suddenly the 6 silhouettes charge towards the two of them, but Cobra Cobra tells Sabo that he can escape if he leaves him behind, but Sabo refuses to leave the injured Cobra. While they frantically try to run away, Cobra tells him that he has finally figured it out. No matter what, Sabo needs to survive this encounter, because he wants him to tell Luffy and Vivi that the Nefertari also belong to the D-clan. Cobra finally realizes the path that Alabasta must now walk on. After Sabo hears the D-clan, he recalls a flashback from his childhood when he had asked Ace and Luffy about the letter D that is in their names. Now the two of them don't seem to care much about their name, not knowing the significance of the letter D, as Ace even suggests putting a D in Sabo's name, calling him Sa-D-Bo. Back in the present, Sabo and Cobra are both impaled by one of the creatures, and Sabo looks pretty badly wounded. Now using his final ounce of strength, Cobra shields Sabo and presumably tells him to protect the poneglyphs and to raise the flag for the dawn of the world. He reminds him of the name Nefertari D. Lili, and with his final breath, he exclaims that he is counting on Sabo and he must survive at all costs. We see Sabo escape as the creatures ruthlessly kill Cobra. Now in the distance, there was someone else who was eavesdropping on this entire situation, as we learn that King Wapol has witnessed the murder of Cobra, as he realizes that not even the kings of the world are safe from the world government, as he runs away bawling his eyes out. He says that he didn't need to see all of that, as he fears for his life after having learnt about the darkness of the world. Now the kings who have gathered note that King Cobra and King Wapol have yet to arrive, and they have just received word that the reverie can proceed despite their absence. They end up joking about how Cobra's speech from earlier may have made him pass out, and that he must be pleased with the disbandment of the 7 warlords of the sea, considering that one of its former members was ruling over Alabasta in the past. Now the kings decide to settle the remaining issues on this year's agenda, but outside of the castle, Fukaboshi tells Shirahoshi that the meeting will soon be over, and it is best for them to wait at the port where they will be safe from the celestial dragons. However, Shirahoshi seems to be preoccupied, as she says that she would love to have a few more words with Princess Vivi, as she wonders where she may have gone. Now in one of the isolated guest rooms in Pangaea Castle, we see Queen Vivi tied to a chair, yelling to her captors that they better untie her, and she asks whose orders they are acting on before threatening to tell the whole world about what they are doing. Her captors are revealed to be former CP9 members Jabra and Khalifa, who are now confirmed to be members of CP0. In the background, we see the other former members of CP9 who are acting as guards. Now while Jabra responds sarcastically to Vivi's demands, Khalifa tells Vivi that no one is coming to save her, and that once her disappearance is made known, she will probably end up living the rest of her life as a pet, presumably under one of the celestial dragons. Vivi ignores this warning though, and instead asks if Shirahoshi is okay. While the CP0 members tell her that this isn't a time to worry about someone else, they confirm to her that Shirahoshi had came out fine despite the trouble that she had found herself in, which Vivi is relieved to hear. Jabra then gives an update on everything else that has happened during the reverie, where we learn that Sai and Leo had loudly proclaimed that they were members of the Straw Hats Grand Fleet, which was straight after their attack on St. Charlos. Meanwhile, Fujitora and Ryugoku had also gotten into an altercation within the Holy Land after Fujitora had deliberately assisted the Revolutionary Army in freeing some of the slaves. Now while Jabra wonders about how dramatic this year's reverie was, Vivi accepts that she's going to have to figure out a way to escape, but her salvation comes from an unexpected source as suddenly King Wapol bursts through the room in which she is being detained. Wapol is using his devil fruit to destroy everything in his path as he flees, crying out, "Spare me, I didn't see a thing." Now Vivi takes this as her opportunity to escape, and in the chaos and shock she grabs onto Wapol as he escapes, with CP0 being totally unaware of what had just happened, as Wapol runs past with Vivi clinging onto his side, declaring that he will run to the ends of the earth, which Vivi agrees to. Now funnily enough, we do see Wapol's wife, who sees the pair and is shocked and assumes that they are eloping together. This pretty much brings us to an end to the most recent chapter, as there have been a lot of theories and speculation following its release. One of the biggest talking points have of course been the Gorosei, who had made their debut appearance within chapter 233 of the manga, which was released about 21 years ago in real time. This was following the Alabasta arc and the defeat of Crocodile, and it's only now that we are starting to learn more about this group of 5 elders who are led by the even more mysterious Imu-sama. All 6 of these individuals, we have learnt, have the ability to transform into these sinister bestial forms which appear to be their true forms. Now it is great to see that Oda has finally revealed them to be able to fight, which will build up the hype towards the endgame of One Piece. Now this recent chapter had revealed a hint of the hidden information that the Gorosei and Imu-sama are holding close to themselves, and I really am looking forward to seeing more of them and learning about the secrets of the world and the Void Century tree that they are holding onto. Sabo had said that he didn't expect the top of the world to look so hellish, revealing how sinister the heads of the world government truly are. In general, devil fruits are said to have evolved from the dreams of humans, just as Dr. Vegapunk had described, stating that each devil fruit has a chance of evolution based upon the desires of the human who eats it. So it would be fitting to assume that Im and the Gorosei have corrupted devil fruits that have been tainted by their evil dreams and desires. Others have said that they don't believe these transformations that the Gorosei had underwent to be as a result of their devil fruits, but instead these transformations are a result of the powers of Imu-sama, and he may have given these transformations to the Gorosei. I guess we'll learn if this is true or not within the upcoming chapters of the story, but one thing is for certain, Im appears to have shadow powers which are perfectly in line with the theme of his character to erase individuals representing light from history. Interestingly, Im's powers that he demonstrates in this chapter are reminiscent of beings that we had seen from the Florian Triangle, first revealed within chapter 442 of the manga. The Florian Triangle is a nod to the real-world Bermuda Triangle, which is similarly known for many air or sea vessels mysteriously disappearing after going within it. Now, some of the disappearances within One Piece seem to be because of Moria, but other disappearances have been linked to these large shadowy figures found to be roaming the seas of the Florian Triangle. Now, not much is known about these strange creatures aside from the fact that they are large and they have red eyes. They also seem to have the ability to hide themselves within the fog despite their incredible size. Now, these entities have also been linked to traditional depictions of the Umibozu, which are monsters or yokai from old Japanese folklore tales, said to be responsible for drowning sailors. So it is responsible that Im is linked to these strange entities found within the Florian Triangle. These entities, which have a large shadowy body combined with their sinister red eyes, definitely gives us something to think about. Now, this most recent chapter had revealed to us that Lili was responsible for creating and sending out the pornoglyphs across the world. Now, whatever her plan may have been, it seems like the pornoglyph were originally in one location. Now, this has been theorized by Twitter user Typical Joe, who believes that this one location was in fact Shandora, describing Shandora to have been the original location housing the 9 real pornoglyph within the bell tower and the 4 road pornoglyph on the 4 altars. Cobra's dying words to Sabo included a quote from Nefertari D. Lili, which was that the pornoglyph must be protected and to fly the flag that heralds the dawn of the world. Now, why is it that Oda had included a speech bubble containing a roar from one of the Gorosei that had obscured the portion that says that the pornoglyph must be protected? Could this obscured portion actually have been Lili saying that the pornoglyph must be connected instead of protected? Now, both of these statements would be correct and would make sense given the context of the situation, and this certainly adds to the mystery of these mysterious texts that have been collected by Luffy and the other contenders for the One Piece. Now, this recent chapter also saw revelations linked to the D clan. It seems that the letter D can be inherited from current holders of D in their name, or if the actions oppose those of Im and the world government. It is evident that Lili didn't become a member of the D clan until she had opposed Imu-sama, which is all but confirmed following what we learn about her in chapter 1085. This is why we had the flashback of Ace giving Sabo the letter D, which hints at how the D clan members may have been selected in the past and how existing members were able to initiate new members into their group. Understandably, the response following this most recent chapter has been absolutely insane. It's amazing that Oda in the last 10 chapters had started to unravel some of the biggest mysteries in the 20+ year history of One Piece. I think that I speak for everyone when I said that we were not expecting to see Im actually engage in battle. After all, this is someone who was shrouded in so much mystery, and I thought that it would be a while until we saw any action from Im, so this was definitely a highlight for me in this chapter. I'm really excited to see more from Im and his abilities, as well as learning more about this story behind this sinister character. Chapter 1085 had saw the mad lad Sabo without any hesitation spark up Imu-sama, demonstrating vast levels of bravery and decisiveness. You really can tell that he belongs to the D clan, as his actions were in line with those of his brothers, both Luffy and Ace, who I think would have done exactly the same thing if they were in his situation. He wasn't going to just stand by and watch a legend like King Cobra be ganged up on and killed by 6 of the most powerful beings in the story. Now, just when I thought that we couldn't love Sabo anymore, he pulls this trick out of his hat. Pay attention to how he jumps out and just lights up Imu-sama directly. He had went straight for the top dog, the final antagonist of One Piece, without a second's thought, and this has earned so much respect for him in my eyes. Imu-sama and the Gorosei's transformations have also been large points of discussion following the release of this recent chapter. Fans have started to speculate that Im may in fact be immortal, while others have theorized that he may not even be a human. Others others have said that Im may be in possession of a devil fruit that is similar to Luffy's, but it is centered around shadows and nightmares, which is the polar opposite of Luffy's, which symbolizes the dreams of the oppressed, and it shines a light onto others by representing the sun god Nika, as well as spreading the will of Joy Boy, which is the ultimate representation of dreams and freedom. Chapter 1085 has seen countless reactions being circulated about the character of Imu-sama, the bravery of Sabo, the dying words of Cobra, as well as the sinister transformations of Im and the Gorosei, and last but not least, the revelations concerning the D clan from Lili Nefertari, and how the Nefertari family too possesses the will of D. This new chapter was once again some top tier fiction delivered to us by Oda, as finally some of the biggest mysteries of One Piece are starting to be unveiled. Chapter 1085 saw the shocking confrontation between Cobra and Im within the throne room, as we learn about some of the truths concerning the poneglyph and the role that Lili had played in spreading them, which was described to be her greatest blunder, but in fact was one of the biggest successes for the wielders of the will of D. Now, following all of this, we learned that Sabo wasn't responsible for the murder of Cobra, which they had tried to pin on him, but in fact he had fearlessly protected him in arguably the most dangerous scenario that we have ever encountered within One Piece. Now that Vivi has escaped with King Wapol and Sabo has managed to survive the encounter, where does this take the story in the next chapter? How will Dragon and Ivankov react to what Sabo has just told them? Hopefully we'll get to learn more about Im, the Gorosei, Lili, and the will of D in the upcoming installments of One Piece. So definitely let me know all of your thoughts on chapter 1085 and your own theories and opinions on what I've discussed. Things really are heating up, so be sure to subscribe to the channel for the latest One Piece discussions. And lastly, thanks for making it to the end of this video, and I can't wait to see you in my next One Piece video. If you enjoy my content, then you can support my channel through Patreon for as little as $1 a month, or even through YouTube by becoming a channel member. You will gain access to exclusive channel perks and a Discord server which I frequently use. So become a member of my Zero Division and be the first to know about my upcoming videos. And once again, thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.